Can. All right, yes, let's do some yoga. All right, so let's get started, shall we? I've got our little timer here so I don't go over. Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer Dixon with Thrive Yoga and Wellness, located in the beautiful Chattanooga, Tennessee. And today I thought I would take us through a yoga sequence dedicated to heart opening. That sounds really kind of cheesy, especially if you're new to yoga. What does that mean? It's back bending. And the reason why we should like to, most of the time we hate doing yoga, back bends. The reason why it's important is because as we age, gravity works, right? So it tends to hunch us over. As we have kids, you hunch over, feeding, holding, all of that stuff. If you sit at a desk, we tend to hunch over. And what happens is the muscles here in the belly start to atrophy. That means they go away. And it really puts a lot of stress and strain on the back muscles because they can't go away, right? They have to hold us upright. And so it's really important to practice doing lots of things that'll help to strengthen what's called the posterior chain. Those are all the muscles along the back side of the body. And it's really important to keep those strong. But on the same time, when you strengthen the back side muscles, it's going to help to stretch the front side muscles, which is also great for helping you look taller, have better posture, helping you to feel like you can breathe better. All of these things are really great benefits of having a good and regular yoga back bending practice. And so without further ado, I welcome you to our first yoga class for back bending. Let's come to our mats into child's pose. You can have toes together or knees apart. I'm getting messages, making sure that you guys can hear me. Toes together. Knees can be together or apart, yogi's choice. When they're together, it's a little bit more of a low back stretch. It should feel pretty good. And since today's focus is going to be on back bending, I'm going to demonstrate knees together. You want to press those foreheads into the mat. That helps to ground you and to calm you. Your palms can be up or down, yogi's choice. Let's just take 2 more breaths here in this really gentle child's pose. 1 more. From here, we're going to go ahead and bring our hands up in front of us for a more active child's pose. Forehead still can be pressing into the mat. Really draw those fingers into the mat and energetically pull the hands down closer to your body. You're going to feel the activation along the outsides of those shoulders and lats. We're just starting to slowly build heat in those really important back body muscles. Now, while you do this, try to draw your belly button to spine. In yoga, that's called the Uddiyana Bandha. Those are your transverse abdominals, and those are what are really important to help protect the back, to strengthen the abdominals, obviously, and help take some pressure off the back. Pressing those hands into the mat, pulling them back. 1 more. Now let's roll over towards the right-hand side. So walk your hands over towards the right, pressing them into the mat. You should feel a really nice stretch along the left side body. Press those hips back into the heels, and don't worry if your hips are way up high in the air, that's okay. The mobility in your knees and your ankles and your quads, all that stuff will come with practice. Draw the belly in again. Nice. All right, bring those hands back forward. Stretch it out. 1 breath in, 1 breath out, and let's go over towards the left. You'll feel a really good stretch along this left side body. If you can, leave your head pressing into the mat, but if it's not straining your neck, you can lift it up as well. Try to press those hips back into the heels. It'll really intensify this really nice side stretch. 1 more. All right, draw those hands back and forward. 1 breath here, inhale. 1 breath, exhale. On your next inhale, let's come up to a tabletop. For tabletop, you want your hands stacked underneath your shoulders, your knees stacked underneath your hips. But you don't want to sag down, right? So draw the belly in, Draw. It's almost like you want your strings attached to the ceiling of your low back. Pull the low back up. So try to keep that belly so engaged the low back stays nice and flat. You'll feel your tummy working even here in this easier, what is this? Tabletop pose. Draw your breath in and go ahead and let it out. Now we're going to move through some cat-cows. Again, just kind of getting the kinks out. So drop your belly, look up for a nice cow pose, and then round through the spine like a Halloween cat. So move with your breath. So that might be inhaling in the cow, exhaling with the cat, or it might be the other way around. I don't care. Just do what feels good to you at this point in time, warming your body up. And then after you've moved through a couple of rounds of cat-cow, getting the rust out, so to speak, maybe you start to go side to side, or you may just to move in an organic way that feels good to you, just trying to get yourself going. This might be the first time you've really moved all day, so be nice to yourself. Especially, man, it's so cold and wet where I am right now. Need some heat and time to warm up. All right, so now we're going to move into our very first downward facing dog. Leave those hands, shoulders width distance apart, really trying to plug those hands into the mat. You're going to roll over to the toes, lift those knees up, and lift the hips up high into the air. Draw the belly in and up, and try to pull those shoulders away from your ears. Let the head hang heavy. Nice little gravity traction for the neck as you gaze towards your belly button. That's called Nabi Drishti. Couple more breaths. One more breath. All right, we're going to walk our hands back to our feet into our very first standing forward fold. Now, if your knees aren't this straight, totally okay. Bend your knees as much as you need to in order to let your back relax. And so we're just going to hang out here for a few breaths. Even here in the standing forward fold, try to draw that belly button up off of the thighs. It's not really going to come up off the thighs more than likely, but draw it in so much you're trying to. Let the head be heavy and relaxed. Maybe you shake it. Yes, nod it. Yes, rather shake it. No. Warming up slowly. Maybe you want to move some gentle ways side to side. Nice. Slowly coming to stillness. Press down a whole bunch into those big toes. Rounding a little bit and through the back and softening the knees as you slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Coming into your very first mountain pose or Tadasana. Really think about your posture here, drawing that belly in, lengthening down through the tailbone. Pretend that you're lifting the arches of the feet and see how that engages along the quads a little bit and forces the belly to be engaged. Draw the shoulders down and back. Let's do one more breath here in this beautiful posture. Now we'll warm up. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, we're going to walk those hands out to a plank. Hold this plank. Puff up between the shoulder blades. Energy out through the heels. Draw the belly in. One more. Slowly warming up. Push yourself forward. Remember, you can come down to your knees to your chaturanga where your elbows get bent to 90 degrees. Hold this chaturanga, or you can stay up on your toes. Inhaling to upward facing dog. Knees can be on the mat or off. Rolling over those feet. Downward facing dog. Let's catch our breath. Move in a way that feels good to you, or you might just hang out here in this down dog completely still. Yogi's choice. In the warm-up times, I'm not particularly picky. Just trying to get your body used to the idea of moving. One more. All right, inhale, we're going to look forward. Exhale it all out. Walk, step, or jump forward. Halfway lift, inhale, forward fold. Inhale, let's come all the way up. Exhale, mountain pose. Let's do that again. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, belly stays in. Exhale, plant the hands, walk, step, jump back, hold this plank. I like to hold planks as we warm up just because it forces the belly to work a little more. So in this next go to chaturanga, you can either do the vinyasa, which is chaturanga, up dog, down dog, or you can do a chaturanga push-up. I'm going to do a chaturanga push-up. It's a little more challenging. It's going to build a little more strength in the upper body, and it's a little harder, so I like to do it. Look forward, push forward, chaturanga, push back up, downward facing dog. Catch your breath. In yoga, we like to open up. We're coming down. We're not really pulling that much. And oftentimes, we rush through that upward facing dog and we rob ourselves of some strength building opportunity. But if you do the chaturanga push-up, you are not losing that strength building opportunity. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, jump to the top of your mat. Toes together, heels apart, maybe half lift. Forward fold. Inhale, let's come all the way up. Reach up high. Maybe your hands clasp overhead and you come into a little bitty back bend. Exhale, hands to your side, mountain pose. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, walk, step, jump back, hold this plank. But remember, plank is not booty up in the air, nor is plank sagging that bottom down. Hold the plank steady, space between the shoulder blades, lengthening through the tailbone, drawing the belly in and up. One more breath. All right, let's shoot forward ever so slightly. Chaturanga. Push back up, maybe. Downward facing dog. Sun and salutations are awesome ways to get moving in all the different parts of your body. I don't always start out with sun salutations, but it's not sunny where we are today, and I really am just channeling some sun, I guess. I don't know. Being optimistic. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, if you're ready, you're going to walk, step, or you might try to float forward, hovering right before you, if you can. Head up, inhale. Forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, mountain pose. Beautiful. Now we're going to go into a Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, chair pose or Utkatasana. Reaching the hands up high. Maybe they touch overhead. If your heart starts to be kind of out of control, you can always bring your hands to your heart center. Draw the belly in, lengthen through the tailbone. We're not trying to do any dancer or cheerleader butts, right? So lengthen through that tailbone. Keep breathing. I like to say, think about bringing my thumbs towards the wall behind me, but not at the expense of letting the belly go. That's opening up in the lats and in the shoulders, which we need for back bends. Really pull those thumbs back. One more. And forward fold. Head up, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, move through your vinyasa. So that's high plank, low plank, up dog, or chaturanga push-up, down dog. Ground down through that left heel, bring that right foot forward, warrior one on the right. Settle in here for this warrior one. You might hear people cue heel to heel alignment, and that's fine, but sometimes that's really intense on the back leg and in the back hip flexor and back knee. So if you want to take a wider step like on railroad tracks in order to give your left hip flexor a break, go for it. You're going to relax into this pose and stretch that left hip flexor a little more easily if you do it without the force. One more. On the exhale, plant those hands down. Bring the right foot back, move through your vinyasa or chaturanga push-up. Downward facing dog. Planting that right heel down, bring that left foot forward, coming into your warrior one on the left. Again, even in this pose, you can draw those thumbs back, feeling the stretch along this part of your shoulders, your lats, maybe even feeling the stretch in your triceps. All of those stretches are super important to open up and do back bends. And again, remember, you can have that heel-to-heel alignment, totally fine. But if you want to take a wider step to help draw that right hip forward and to make it a little nicer on those right hip flexors, go for it. I promise it'll feel better, and you might even feel a little bit more relaxation in the knee. One more breath. All right, plant those hands down, quiet as a mouse. Pick up that left foot, move through your vinyasa or chaturanga push-up. Downward facing dog. One more breath. Inhale, let's look between the hands. Exhale it all out, then come to the top of the mat. Head up, inhale. Forward fold. Coming back into our chair pose. Sink low, reach high. Pull those shoulders and thumbs back and down and away from the ears, the shoulders at least. One more breath. All right, come to mountain pose. That was one sun B. We're going to do it one more time. This time we're going to open up to warrior two just to help keep warming up. Inhale, chair pose. Stay here, exhale. One more inhale. And forward fold. Inhale, head up. Exhale, vinyasa. Here we are in low plank. Up dog. Down dog. Right foot forward. Warrior one. Stay here, exhale. Open up. Warrior two. Stay here, exhale. Peaceful warrior, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands and vinyasa. Nice. Planting that right heel down, bringing that left foot forward. Warrior one on the left. Stay here, exhale. Inhale. Warrior two. Stay here, inhale. Just opening up those hips, exhale. Peaceful warrior, left hand up, right hand down. And then windmill those hands down. Take your vinyasa. Catch your breath. One more. Inhale, head up. Exhale, see how quietly you can land at the top of the mat. Head up, inhale. Forward fold. Coming back into chair. Nice, mountain pose. Let's do a little bit of a forward fold. Bring those hands to the hips, open up those feet, hips width distance apart. Head up, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Grabbing hold of the big toes with the peace fingers, head up, and then pull yourself down. Enjoy this nice stretch along the hamstrings, the back, maybe it even gets up into the shoulders. Entire posterior chain is getting a nice little stretch. Let the head go. One more. Nice. Head up, inhale. Exhale, plant those hands, move through your vinyasa. I like to say high plank, low plank, up dog. Hold the belly in this up dog. Rounding over, down dog. All right, let's start to move and warm up that posterior chain. Inhale, high plank. Kick forward ever so slightly, lower to chaturanga. Remember, you can use your knees if you'd like. This is just helping to warm up across the shoulders, belly, the booty should be working. One more. Now come all the way down to the mat. Fingertips in line with the chest. Squeeze those shoulders together. Bring those toes together. Inhale, lifting the feet, lifting the chest, maybe even lifting the hands. Keep squeezing those elbows together. Really lift those legs up. Hamstrings are working. Shoulders are working. Glutes are working. Lift up a little more. Nice. Plant the hands. Plant the legs. Windshield wiper those legs just for a couple breaths. Now come to stillness. We can leave those hands exactly where they were, or you can come with me on a little bit of a pretend swimming journey. I've got a 3-year-old, so we pretend a lot. Inhale, lift up, lift those feet up. Bring those hands up to your chest. Here we are, squeezing those elbows. Now, hands out wide to a T like Superman. Hold them out. Now bring them back towards the hips. Bring them back to Superman, towards the hips. Superman, hips. Superman, hips. Now we're coming all the way forward, flying. Lift, T, hips. Forward, T, hips. Forward, T, hips. One more. Forward, T, hips. Really squeeze it together. Lift those feet. One more. Go ahead, planting everything down. Maybe you put one cheek on the mat. Windshield wiper those legs. Okay, so now we're going to do a similar motion. This time, instead of hands out wide, we're going to bring in our hands close. It works a different part of the rhomboids. It's the muscles in between the shoulders. So inhale, bring those feet together, lengthen through the tailbone, draw the belly in, lift those feet, lift the chest, hands out wide to a T, bring them forward, squeeze the elbows back, out to a T, forward, squeeze the elbows back, T, forward, squeeze the elbows back, T, forward, squeeze the elbows back. One more, T, forward, squeeze and lift and hold. All right, set it down. Windshield wiper those legs. Awesome job, guys. Hopefully you felt that in your entire back body. Plant those toes down into the mat. Engage the quads so much they come up off of the mat. Belly's in, tailbones down. Looking forward, push up. Downward facing dog. Nice. Maybe you walk your dog. One more. All right, inhaling back to plank. Hold this. 3 breaths. That's 2 breaths. Nice. Now bring that right hand up. Let's come over to a side plank. But go ahead and leave your feet here kind of on one foot in front of the other. Lift those hips. There's a reason why. One more. Nice. Now bring that right hand down and through. Come up to the toes. Back to the side. Right hand down and up. Down. That's 3. 2 more. Down. 1 more. Down and up. Nice. Hold this plank. Lift those hips. 1 more. Great. Awesome. Hold the plank. Bring that right hand down. Don't let the booty come up. Remember, you can always do this from your knees. This entire ab sequence right now can be done from your knees. 1 more breath. All right, let's go over towards the right. Left hand's up. I'm leaving my feet stacked, one in front of the other, because I'm practicing rolling over on the feet. It engages the belly a little bit differently. Soften the elbows, and let's bring that left hand down for 5, and back up. 4, and back up. 3, back up. 2, back up. 1 more. 1, back up. Hold it here. Lift the hips. 1, 2, soften the elbows. 3, awesome. Hold that plank. Left hand comes down for 3, 2, 1. Downward facing dog. Whoo, yeah, I like to call that the hallelujah downward facing dog. All right, inhaling, bring that right foot forward. Let's come into our very first crescent lunge. So we're up on the toes of that left foot. Draw the belly in, lengthening through the tailbone as you come up. Our hips are squared off to the wall in front of us. Your hands can be here at heart center if your heart rate's a little bit crazy, or down behind your back. Or if you're juicing for more, bring those hands up. Remember, working those thumbs towards the wall behind you. It'll help with the back bends. Feel that lovely stretch on the left hip flexor. All right, bring those hands to your heart center. Inhaling, exhale, left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. We got to get at least one good twist in today. Sink into that right knee just a little bit more. See if you can either look at that right big toe or maybe push energy out through that left heel and look towards the right, or maybe looking over that right shoulder. One more. Nice. Inhaling back here to crescent lunge. And now we're going to bring those hands behind our back. Pull the hands down past the bottom, down towards the left hamstring. Look up, maybe opening up across the chest. 2, 3. Let's do this one more. Actually, it needs to be 5. One more now. Awesome. Now bring the head forward. Bring the hands forward in this humbled warrior. Opening up the shoulders a little more. 2, 3. Come on. Sink into that right knee. 4. Nice. 5. Inhaling back to your crescent lunge. Exhale. Plant the hands. Bring that right foot back. Move through your vinyasa. Catch your breath. All right, let's do a little bit more ab challenge. Inhale here to high plank. Hold it. Now we're going to bring that right knee up to the nose. Shift it back. To the right underarm. Shift it back. To the left underarm. Shift it back. Hover. Holding it here in this one-legged plank. One more. Set it down. Lift that left foot up. Left knee to your nose. Shift it back. Left knee to your left elbow. Shift it back. To your right elbow. Shift it back and hold it for 3, 2, 1. Nice. Downward facing dog. Planting down through those right toes. Look forward. Bring that left foot forward. Coming into your crescent lunge. All things must be done to both sides, right? Stretching out here in this right hip flexor. Remember, you can have your hands here at heart center or down back behind in your low back to help calm down the nervous system. Inhale here. Bring your hands to your heart center. And then on your next exhale, right elbow to the outside of that right thigh. Working those thumbs to your chest. You can gaze at the left big toe, remembering to bend into that left knee a whole bunch. It'll intensify it. Or you can look up towards your left shoulder and maybe even beyond. But don't come out of that bend on the left. Building a lot of strength here. And this is a balance challenge. So remember, the knee is always an option on the right. All right. Belly's in. Unwinding. Back to your crescent lunge. Bring those hands down and back. Pull them away from you, opening up across the chest here. 1. You can look down to help stretch along the back side of the neck, or you can look up. It'll intensify it across the right hip flexor. Also challenge the balance. 2 more. 1 more. Awesome. Forward folding, humbling this warrior. 2 more. 1 more breath. Nice. Bring those hands up. Coming back to your crescent lunge. Stay here for 1 inhale. Next exhale brings those hands down. Move through your vinyasa. Stay here in down dog for a couple of breaths. If you need a child's pose, go for it. We're going to move through a little bit of a balance challenge sequence, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of our back bending. Inhale, let's look forward, and then look at those hands and tell those feet to get up and beside the hands. See how quietly you can jump those feet into a malasana squat. Oh, and I don't know if you can hear everything that just popped on me. Hopefully you can't, because y'all would probably be scared. Okay, use your elbows, push those knees away. Feel this great stretch. This is basically stretching everything in the lower hemisphere. If you want, maybe you practice lifting your pelvic floor, your Mula Bandha. You can stay right here in this beautiful opening stretch for your hips, or you can twist it out by grounding down through the one hand, pressing the opposite knee away from you. Or you can practice your crow pose. To do crow, you're going to plant those hands down, shoulders width distance apart, and you have to lift your hips up. There's no bones about it. Lift the booties up in the air, shimmy those feet closer together. We have two options for crow pose, and I'm going to look at you while you practice. So option number one is you plant those knees up onto the triceps, look forward, lean forward, bellies in, a little bit of Halloween cat back action. Maybe you lift one foot, maybe you lift both feet, or maybe you take turns. Alternatively, I feel like I see a lot more of the athletic build dudes doing their crow this way. Both of them are totally fine. Try practicing your crow on the outsides of your arms, like on the outside of your triceps. This will engage your inner thighs, and it'll help you to balance a little better by using more muscles. So same premise, hands planted directly underneath the shoulders, hips lift up, knees come to the outside of those triceps, look forward, squeeze those arms together, and then lift one or both legs. Nice. Thank you for having patience with me as we practice our crow. One more moment. Inhale here. Nice. Now with control, plant those feet down back to your malasana squat. Hands out in front. Pull those shoulders down. Draw the belly in. One more breath. Now squeeze the butt cheeks, squeeze the thighs, lift yourself up. Whoo! Coming to your mountain pose at the top of the mat. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead. We're going to bring that right foot up into tree pose. So your tree can be kickstand, calf, or high up on the inner thigh. Draw the belly in. Now, if tree is still challenging for you, stay right here, wherever you are, maybe hands at heart center. We're going to try to open up our hearts in a balancing posture, so it's just going to confuse the mess out of the brain. Bring those hands behind your back. Press the right foot into the left foot, every bit as much as if it was pressing into the ground. Pull those hands away from you, just like we did in crescent lunge. You can look forward for balance or look up. That'll really intensify it. One more. Awesome. Come on out. Shake it out. Other side. Sometimes people get, I feel like, a little cocky about tree. They're like, oh, I've got tree. And that's when you start messing with the balance by doing weird things with your hands. And then the ego has to go away. Now remember with your tree pose, belly in, tailbone down. Left foot is pressing into the right, every bit as much as if it was standing down into the mat. You can have kickstand, calf, or high up on the inner thigh. Get it as high as you can. Draw the belly in, stay here. Or you can join me for an intensified balance action. Pull those hands down and back away from you, belly in, opening up here across the chest. See if maybe this side is a little different than the other side. One more. Nice. All right. Shake it out. Set it down. We're going to build onto the tree using balance and core. Oh, let's do it. So, grounding down a lot through that right foot. Bring that left foot up. Come into your tree pose. Calf, kickstand, or high onto the inner thigh. Stay here, inhale. Exhale. Now we're going to forward fold into tree pose. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Soften the right knee as much as you need to. This is really, really challenging the balance. Now, bend the right knee as much as you need to as you slowly start to hop that foot back. Talk about a weird transition, right? It's awkward because we want to have both of our feet on the mat. Hang out here in this tree plank. Your left butt cheek is having to squeeze really hard to keep that hip opening. Hold the plank. Nice. Tree pose, down dog. Whoo. Let's come over to a side plank with tree. Holding that right hand into the mat. Left hand lifts maybe. Lift the hips. Holding this tree. One more. Awesome. Set the left hand down. Hold the tree. Now let's see if we can hop that foot forward. Oh, my foot is slipping down. Let me get it up. All right, bending that right knee ever so slightly. Come on up, tree pose. Fun with tree. Set it down. Shake it out. Okay, now we have to do the other side. Grounding down a lot through that left foot. Bring that right foot up high. Squeeze that right foot into the left. Hands to your heart center to prepare. Inhale here. Exhale. Slowly softening the left knee into a forward fold. Squeeze that right foot into that left leg. It's really going to help to keep the center of gravity inward. Now we're going to slowly start to hop those left feet back, hanging out here in a tree plank. Push that right foot into the left thigh a lot. Now we're open up, side plank with tree legs. One more. Planting that right foot, right hand rather, looking forward. Let's hop that left foot forward. 1, 2, 3. All right, soften the left knee. Think to yourself, I can do this. Come on up into your tree pose. I snap sometimes for some reason. It makes me feel like I balance better. Set that right foot down, shake it out. Whew. Now let's flow. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Head up, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands. Move through your vinyasa. Planting that left heel down, bring that right foot forward. Warrior 1. Open up, warrior 2. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, extended side angle. Right elbow to that right thigh. Or you can bring the right elbow inside the right thigh. 2. 3. 2 more. 4. Nice. Back to warrior 2. And then windmill those hands down. Vinyasa. Opening up across the heart in that upward dog. Downward dog. Plant that right heel down. Bring that left foot forward. Warrior 1. Settle in. Open up. Warrior 2. Inhale here. Exhale. Extended side angle. Remember, left elbow to that left thigh or left elbow inside the left thigh. No weight on the legs. 2. Opening up your chest to the wall beside you. 3. Belly button in. 4. One more. 5. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, windmill those hands down. Vinyasa. It wouldn't be a yoga class without at least an extended side angle or a triangle. So had to throw one in. Okay. Inhaling here, look between those hands. Let's do a few boat poses just to warm up the abs. Jump through, down, seated. Okay, boat number 1. Feet stay on the mat. Join me in this really simplified version of boat because we're going to add some movement to target the transverse abs. So here we are, feet planted, hips width distance apart. Your hands can be out like in boat, or they can be at your heart, across your chest. This actually adds a little more weight to the abs, so it makes it a little more challenging. What you don't want to do is round. So keep the back nice and straight, and we're not going to go far. We're just going to go down 45, maybe that's 60, and then almost all the way, but not all the way. Let's do that for 8 more. 7, 6, 5. Really feel this in the transverse abs. That's the side going, they're like the girdle. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, come back here to this between 45 and 60-degree angle. Lift your left leg. We're going to come up and down for 5. So your hands can stay out wide or they can be at your heart. I'm going to have them out wide. You ready? Inhale. 5. Leave that left foot right where it is. 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch legs. Other side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Now we're going to build on. Let's come straight into boat. Your feet can stay right here on the mat, or you can lift one or both, or you can go out straight for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bend the knees, squeeze them in with or without your hands. 1, 2, squeeze them in. 3, 4, 5. Let's go back to boat for 1, shoulders back. 2, 3, 4, hold. 5, bring those knees in. You can squeeze with your hands to hold them if you want. 1, 2, squeeze those knees in. 3, 4, 5. Last boat, we can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring those knees into your chest. Use your hands. Give them a squeeze. And then set them down. Hallelujah. We are done with our boat poses. Okay, so now let's move into some back bending drills. So first we're going to come up onto our knees. Make sure you've got about hips width distance between your knees. So that's about 2 fists, if you will. Okay, we're going to come into a very first camel pose. Since this is our first one, if you're new to camel pose, we've got options. You can keep the feet flat on the mat. That's a little more intense. Or you can bring the toes up onto the mat. Bring your hands into your yoga pockets, fingertips down or up. I tend to like my fingertips down. It helps to remind me to lengthen through the tailbone and draw the belly in. Imagine someone's there lifting your chest. So imagine I'm there with you. Lifting your chest, lengthening your tailbone, hands in your yoga pockets. Press those hips forward, squeeze those elbows together, and then looking up, looking up, looking up. If you want, you stay right here, or you reach back and grab one or both heels. If this is relatively easy, you can let your head go, except my microphone messes up when I do that. You can come to the tops of the feet. Press those hips forward. One more. Now, engage the belly even more to pull yourself up, and then coming into a child's pose just for a breath. Sometimes camel can be pretty intense, and that's because it's an intense pose. So we're going to go into it one more time. But this time, actually, let's do it 2 more times. I invite you to use a wall. And why do we want to use a wall? Well, a couple of reasons. Oftentimes, when people come into their camel pose, they sink their hips back to their feet in order to grab their heels. And then their camel ends up looking a little bit more like a triangle, not like a nice rounded hump. So if you come to a wall and press your hips right into the wall and never let the hips leave the wall, as you press those hips forward, belly stays in, and then you look back, and then you maybe grab one or both heels with your hips into the wall. This keeps your back from sinking. It keeps your hips from sinking back. And this keeps you in a more true camel pose. One more. Nice. Belly's in, come on up. So if you want, stay right here at the wall. I'm going to come and be facing you for one more camel pose before we move into our next drill. It's a fun one. So remember, knees are about hips width distance apart, which is generally 2 fist widths. It can be a little wider if you want. Okay, so again, coming up onto your knees, your toes can be planted or you can be on the tops of your feet. I like to have my hands in my yogi's pockets, fingertips up. You can have them fingertips down. try to think about rotating your shoulders forward while squeezing your elbows back. The reason for that is anytime your hands are down below your shoulders naturally internally rotate forward. When they're above, they naturally externally rotate. So think about a little bit of an internal rotation here in the shoulders. As you squeeze the elbows together, lengthen through the tailbone, draw the belly up and in, press those hips forward, and then maybe think about looking up, 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 and then you're looking at the wall behind you. Maybe you can grab one or both heels. Wherever you are, think about lengthening through that tailbone. Think about rotating those shoulders inward, forward to help create some space in the low back. I promise it helps. One more. Nice. Come on up. Beautiful. So now we're going to work on another drill. The full pose is called Kapotasana. We're not going to do that one because normally that'll scare the bejeebies out of us. But what we're going to do is work on some drills for Kapotasana. Kapotasana is like you are putting your head to the mat in camel pose and trying to grab your ankles. So if you want to go for it, go for it. I'm just going to show you some drills. So the first thing you want to do is get the wall to where it's behind you, and how close it needs to be is going to vary based on how open our shoulders are. And we did a lot of stuff today to open up our shoulders and to build some strength and heat in our shoulders. So that might help us to get a little bit further away. But if you're brand new to this, I suggest starting out with your feet pressing into the mat. Your knees are still, not into the mat, into the wall. Your knees are still hips width distance apart, therefore your feet are about hips width distance apart. I like to say you channel your inner John Travolta from Grease. I don't know if you remember Grease, where they always were slicking their hair back. So what this does is it keeps the elbows close, because what likes to happen is these elbows like to go out wide as we go back, and that's going to get really crunchy and hard for the shoulders. So let's build openness, and I'm going to be on my toes because I don't have a mat underneath my toes for this first demonstration. So let's build openness in the shoulders. So inhale here, channel our inner John Travolta, really keeping those hands in close, and then find the wall, put your hands into the wall, and then push yourself away. Now, I was too close, right? Because I didn't have anywhere to move. So I'm going to step my knees forward a little bit. For some people, that's all that they need to do. That's all that you should do when you first start out, because that's really intense here across the sternum and in the shoulders. So as we build more mobility in the shoulders, remember keeping that belly in, keeping that tailbone lengthening down, you're going to be able to shimmy yourself away from the wall a little bit more. Again, you look forward, lengthen through the tailbone, pretending to lift the chest up, hands up, maybe channeling that inner John Travolta as we push our hips forward, look back, reach for the wall. As soon as I touch the wall, I push the wall away from me. Walk my hands down a little more, push the wall away from me. Walk my hands down a little more, push the wall away from me. Keep going till you can't go anymore. I'm going to go all the way down to the wall, to the ground, push the wall away from me. All right, so you can stay here, or you keep walking those hands in, holding it for 3, 2, 1. Now, how do you get out of this? You can use the wall, climbing it up, or if you want an ab challenge, which is kind of fun, I'll demonstrate that. You think to yourself, I'm trying to stand up on my knees. That's the kind of energy and momentum and engagement you need along the front side body. So I'm thinking almost like I'm trying to throw myself forward to get the muscles engaged to pull myself up from that position. So I'll demonstrate it once for you before we move on. So belly's in, lengthen through the tailbone, hands come up. Again, you can go straight back, or I think about John Travolta, lifting back and forward, grounding through the mat, pushing the mat away from me. Hang out here. Now, here I am, I'm about to push myself up. So bend slightly through the elbows, press into the knees a whole bunch, belly goes in a whole bunch, inhale, and then push yourself off. It's like a rubber band slingshotting you forward. It's like the most intense crunch you've ever done. Like those boat poses were nothing, right? And so it'll get the quads in and it'll get the belly engaged, and that's how you get forward without having to use the wall. Good job, guys. All right, let's come into a child's pose just to take a little bit of a break. And child's pose also acts like an inversion. So if you want to do an inversion, go for it. All right, let's come back up to a nice tabletop. I'm going to get our bellies nice and warm one more time just to protect the back. So we're going to come down to forearms. You can stay here up on the knees, more like in a forearm tabletop, or you can join me in plank, either on your knees or on your toes, just to help build up some more heat along the front body. For some reason, it helps me after a whole bunch of back bends to get the belly nice and fired up. I think it's just reminding my belly to do its job. It could be psychosomatic, it probably is. Press that floor away from you. Lengthen through the tailbone, draw the belly in. Nice, all right, come all the way down to the belly. Windshield wiper those legs. You deserve it. And from here, we're just gonna roll over onto our backs. Let's do a little bit of a low back release by bringing that right knee into your chest, wind removing pose. If you like, and if you have a block, you can put a block underneath your sacrum to intensify this. It feels absolutely wonderful, especially if your low back is bothering you. This is like my go-to pose when my SI joint or my disc is acting up. Squeezing that knee in, really lengthening out through that hip flexor on the left. Awesome. Let that right leg go. Bring that left leg in. So you might have one leg that can straighten all the way out and the other leg on the other side has to be bent. Totally normal. Everybody's different. Every side's different. Heck, every day is different. Depends on what you ate, what you slept, how you slept. Yesterday was Halloween, so not going to lie, I did not eat awesome. You don't have to use this block for wind removing pose. I just like to. It just kind of makes things feel a little better to me. All right, bring both of those knees into your chest. Give them a squeeze. And then we're going to let the legs go straight up towards the air. All right, so we can hang out here for a few breaths because it feels pretty good. This is a modification of a shoulder stand, Viparita Karani. Shoulder stands are called the pose. It's called the pose of immortality, so we should never really skip it, right? But in the interest of time, if you are all out of time, I invite you to come into your Shavasana now. Lift those hips up. Remove the block if you had one. You can leave those legs straight up in the air if you like. You can go through a shoulder stand closing sequence, or you can lay out flat on the mat. Really take the time to honor yourself and let your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems come back together. That's the fight or flight part of your body versus the everyday, got to keep food moving through the digestive system part of the body. Some people say that 7 minutes is the perfect Shavasana time. I would love a 7-minute Shavasana every day, I'm not going to lie. But that is not my reality right now. And so, give yourself as much time as you can to get all of the benefits of the practice that you just got to practice do with me. Keep in mind, when you do heart openers, a lot of back bends, it can elicit a lot of strong emotions. We tend to hold emotions in our hips and in our chest. And so we did a lot of hip opening and heart opening today. So if you have some unusually strong emotions, it's not the rainy day, it's the practice that we did, breaking up. Literally, when you stretch, you're breaking fibers, right? So you're also breaking up some emotional things possibly. So keep that in mind. Practice a little grace towards yourself and towards those in your life. Stay here as long as you'd like. And just enjoy how good you feel. Thank you so much for joining me today in this heart-opening practice. I hope you had fun. I hope you maybe did something new and challenging. And I hope to see you again next week. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate. Put them down below. I do read the comments. I do take them seriously, and it will also help me to provide more content for you. If you are interested in practicing with us more often, we have a studio in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Thrive Yoga and Wellness. It's at thriveyogaandwellness.com. And if you are not in the area, we also have an online program. It's called the Mommy Bounce Back. It's great for women, especially postpartum, whether you're 3 months postpartum or 30 years. I have 2 kids, both under 3, and I am on the postpartum journey back, and I thought it would be really great to share that experience and to share the yoga practice that I'm doing to help bounce back. And it's not for, you know, a specific number on the scale or anything. It's just to make myself feel healthy and strong and to be able to keep up with these little ones, right? So I invite you to join us either in the studio or online, and it's the Mommy Bounce Back program at thriveyogaandwellness.com/thrive-online. And again, I can't wait to see you and practice with you again soon. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.